Hey guys, how's it going? Today's video is going to be a writing vlog. I haven't filmed an actual vlog in so long and I'm actually very excited. I filmed a writing update back in December and basically I went over like all of November and all of those writing things, kind of getting back into the swing of writing. I will leave that video linked down below if you want to check it out, but this one is going to be more about the actual project, what I'm writing, how it's going, all those specific details. My work in progress, of course, is still Monsters and Imaginary Friends. It's my dark fantasy, kind of horror, kind of whimsical, kind of trippy vibes. The quick and crappy synopsis is that a little boy gets attacked by an unknown monster in the middle of the night, and his monster in his closet and his imaginary friend now have to team up to figure out what the heck is going on. They bring him into the imagination world, and now they're running around trying to get justice and or revenge. Like I mentioned in my writing update, I started off November writing draft 5, and then kind of quickly realized this isn't working, my writing's too rusty, and I've made too many big changes to the story. So I pivoted, re-outlined everything. That is now done. So now I'm moving on to the next step, which is obviously a zero draft. Listen. Maybe it sounds ridiculous to be writing a zero draft when I already have 4 completed drafts of this project, but there's just so many giant changes that I'm making, and I'm having a hard time kind of envisioning how it's all gonna flow together like on the page just by looking at my outline. Like, I know that the events are making sense, but as far as like the reveals like hitting at the right time and just the overall like pacing and switching between certain elements that I've added, and like I don't know, I don't have a good sense on if it's working together. If you're not familiar with the term zero draft, basically think about how crappy a first draft is. A zero draft is significantly worse. It's kind of like a midpoint between an outline and a first draft. The point is that it's quick and it's written in prose rather than bullet points, which is how I usually do my outlines. So it's the full story like written out, just very badly. But that'll kind of give me an idea of like pacing and events and how things are kind of like flowing together and bleeding into each other and all of that stuff. So it is being very helpful. And again, it's quick because the word choice really doesn't matter, the like sentence structure, like all of that technical writing stuff really doesn't matter. It's just about like the story itself and all of that big picture stuff, which is what I really needed to focus on before I dove back into draft 5, attempt 3 at this point, I don't know. My big goal for today is going to be completely figuring out the investigation. In previous drafts, they still went to the chief, who's kind of like in charge of the imagination world. I think I describe her as the mayor meets lead detective meets everybody's boss all rolled into one. She's also kind of a giant rhino, but that's irrelevant for this. But in previous drafts, her investigation was very much like in the background while the characters were out doing their own thing, and it just wasn't working. It was making that whole plot line like really weak. The investigation seemed so like minor and unimportant. Some of the character decisions made no sense because I wasn't like giving the context of this background stuff that was going on. A big part of it is because at a certain point the characters fall for a red herring and kind of veer off in the wrong direction. So in my mind I was like, well, I don't need to know what the real investigation is doing. Like, we don't need to see that because the characters are off over here. But you need both parts. Like, you need to know what's going on with the real investigation so that when they start going the wrong way, you can see that and it makes sense. And then when they come back, it's all tied together. But in previous drafts, I wasn't really showing any of this. So it was just characters kind of going one way, veering off to the side, stumbling into something else, things happen, and somehow the mystery gets solved. Like, it was not good. So now I'm having them actually like check in and follow up with the chief and actually giving like proper investigation type scenes and having them do some of these things. And it's actually kind of fun because I'm like, you know, whimsying it up and making it a little bit weird and fantastical. So right now what I need to make sure is that I understand what's going on in the investigation, when or how, or like how every single thing was fitting together, what actually happened. Not the stuff that the character knows, just what actually happened and that full timeline. And then by using that, I can now kind of figure out what the chief is investigating, what she's finding, what her steps are. Once I know that, I can kind of pull certain things, make them into scenes so that the characters are filled in, kind of like have them investigating together for certain parts, and kind of just like know what's going on and make sure that I'm not contradicting anything or leaving random pieces of like, wait, how in the world did they figure this out? Or why don't they know this already? So a little part of it is frustrating because I know that most of this is not going to appear on the page. Like, we're not going to have like a flashback scene of exactly what the bad guys were doing in preparation for all of this. It's just background that I have to know. So because it feels irrelevant, my brain is like, don't want to. Useless. Doesn't count as progress. Stop doing that. Honestly though, even though it's more work than I anticipated, and it's a little bit slow going at times, I am having so much fun. It is making the story so much stronger. Anyways, I have to do a little bit more brainstorming and then kind of tweak some outline type things to make sure that they fit with what I brainstorm. And then I'll go back to the zero draft, kind of make sure that it's making sense there. That's the plan for today. I'm going to get to writing and I will check in with you soon. Okay, that went really well. I am really happy with that progress. Back in like draft 2, I first introduced this like super minor character that was just there in one scene, and it was just kind of like the first little hint that there might be more going on. And by draft 4, she'd been fleshed out more. It's another imaginary friend. She's a 7 foot tall, fluffy purple kitten named Minou, and her kid is a little girl named Bree who is missing. And by draft 4, I had fleshed that out quite a bit more. So she's been around for a while, but she never had like a big part in the story. But she was just so much fun to write. Like, she's so mean and like overly aggressive, and like she's just great. I had a lot of fun writing her. So for this draft, since I'm basically reworking the entire investigation aspect, I realized that it makes more sense for the chief to link Joey's attack and Bree's disappearance really early on. Like, she's seeing all those little similarities between the two of them. So now in this next draft, Minou is involved in the initial investigation, and like we see her a lot more, and it is working so much better than I thought it would, and I'm really happy about it. Not only is it tying the two cases together so much better and like setting things up for the first like couple steps of the investigation, like that's so much stronger. I'm able to like introduce some information through her, and it just like flows so much better, is so much smoother, less clunky to have this character kind of like reveal certain things. And it also means that Minou gets to be like a fully fleshed out character, and like she gets her own little character arc and everything. And it's so interesting watching her like fall apart basically as the investigation progresses. And it's really fun getting to write the characters watching her fall apart, because she's what they almost were, right? Like, Joey is with Jackson Rabla in the imagination world while they're doing their investigation. So they're learning all of these like scary things and realizing like how big the danger is, but Joey's with them. Meanwhile, you have Minou, who is also learning things are getting worse and worse and worse and worse, but her kid is still missing. And watching how she handles that, and how badly she handles that maybe, I feel like is doing a much better job at emphasizing like the stakes and the danger and everything like that, because I found I was having a hard time making things seem scary enough while Joey is right there with them. At least in the early story, because obviously things happen that like become real danger. But for the first little chunk, like we keep learning, uh-oh, there's something scary out there and it's gonna get you. Well, no, it's not. He's right there. Like, he's fine. I can see him. He's safe. So having this parallel where you see, oh no, she might not be safe. We don't know. Like, we know nothing about Bree at this point other than the fact that something bad happened, she's now missing, and now all of these scary things are happening. I'm having fun coming up with it. I'm having fun writing it. And like her payoff at the end, I am so excited to write that scene. There is one more thing I need to figure out before I'm going to consider this brainstorming part finished. Hi, Gomit. Basically, at one point, the bad guys make a mistake and something doesn't go according to plan. Because of that, something happens that is ultimately going to help out the characters solve the mystery. I know what they were trying to do, I know what went wrong, and I know all the dominoes that fall because of that, but I think that I need to know what their full original plan was, like steps like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc., to make sure that it all like aligns and that their motivations actually make sense. I don't need to spend a lot of time on this because it's not going to show up in the story at all. Like, this is just so that I know what's happening so that the events make at least a little bit of logical sense. So that's what I'm going to do now, and then I think I'll be able to get back to the actual, like, writing again, which I'm excited for. I'm in a writing mood. I'm not in a brainstorming mood. I want to write. So the faster I can get this brainstorming done, the faster I can write. Alright, I made myself some tea, I took a stretching break. I am so close to being done what I wanted to have done for today, but this one character's name will be the death of me. A lot of times when I'm writing a character, their name comes to me like pretty much right away, like as I'm creating the character, but if their name is going to take like more thought or I just can't quite get it right, then a lot of times I'll just use a placeholder name and move on. But sometimes those placeholder names just get stuck. So Joey is initially attacked by a shadow monster, and then later on there's a red herring shadow monster that's just like very briefly in the story. I just needed to like call him something just for myself, and so I just called him Shad from, you know, shadow monster. But now with how I'm restructuring everything, I'm changing a lot of that around, and now that initial character is actually on the page more, is actually tied to something, and needs a name. And unfortunately, his name is Shad. And my brain will just not let go of Shad. His name cannot be Shad. He needs a different name. But every single time I'm trying to come up with another name, my brain is just like, it's not Shad though. And the funny thing is, a couple weeks ago, I almost changed Joey's name on a whim. Joey's the little boy. He's obviously one of the main characters. He's been here since the very beginning, like, and he's always had his name. He's always been Joey. But for some reason, I just have like no attachment to his name. Like, I was looking up most popular baby names by year and then went back 7 years because he's 7 years old. And I was just like, oh yeah, like some of these names would work too. Yeah, I could call him this, I could call him this. And I was so close to just like changing the major character's name on a complete whim, and I didn't, because I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna change his name, I'm gonna actually think about it. Like, this is not the time to be doing this. But like, his name, whatever, I can call him Joey, I can call him something else, I don't care. But Shad, my brain can't seem to change. Like, his name cannot be Shad the Shadow Monster. Absolutely not. And he's not a goofy character. Like, if he was a goofy character, I could probably get away with it, but he's not. He's serious, he's bad news. Like, his name cannot be Shad, the Shadow Monster. And my brain keeps feeling pouty because his name is Shad. But it can't be, because that's not the vibe. No, it's not. It's just not. It's just not. His name is not Shad, it's just not. I've tried to give him a name multiple times, but after a couple days of just like writing it and rereading it, I'm just like, I don't know, it's just not Shad. And it's so annoying. Hi, Gomit. Careful, babe, there's a T. So I don't know what to do. I kind of just want to change his name to like Shrad or something. Like, just add a random letter in there. Like, okay, I kind of like Shrad. Actually, no, too goofy. Too goofy. Shred. It's kind of scary sounding, right? Ooh, I don't know. So far, this is the only compromise that has felt acceptable to my brain. I think I need another break. I think I'm losing it. Because it's not funny. It's not funny. Like, it's just... I think going forward, I need to be more careful about placeholder names. Is Shrad really that bad of a name, though? Okay, I'm going to try to move on from Shad or Shrad or whatever his name is going to be. I have to move on. I'm so close to getting everything that I needed to get done today done. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drink my tea and I'll check back soon. Alright, I have finished all of my notes for the investigation. I've made the timeline of everything that happens. I made a timeline of what gets discovered when. I made a list of clues that could be found from each thing that happens and kind of tied in like where they would find those clues and with the information they had, like what conclusions or theories would the characters have based off what they knew. I have all of that organized and ready. I even have a couple of like bonus like minor clues. So if I just need an extra little breadcrumb, or maybe I need an excuse for the characters to go back to the chief and follow up with something, like I have that also ready. So honestly, I'm feeling very good with all the work I got done today. Even though it wasn't any new drafting words because it was all brainstorming and like making notes in the outline, it's still progress, and I have to remember that because a lot of times in my brain, if it's not drafting, it doesn't count. And that's silly. Like, there's so much more to a book than drafting. Like, there's so much more to a book than drafting. Overall, I'm just really happy with how today went. I'm really happy with everything I figured out. I'm really happy with how I figured things out. But I think that's all the work I'm gonna do for today. I do have a playlist of all of my Monsters and Imaginary Friends videos, so if you want to see more about that or see how far I've come, I'll leave that linked in the description below. And like I mentioned earlier, I have that post-hiatus writing update video that I filmed a couple weeks ago. I'll leave that link down below in case you want something a little more recent. But that is all for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, please click the like button to let me know. It genuinely is very helpful. And subscribe to stay up to date with the rest of my videos and maybe see if Shad has another series of new names or whose name I get stuck on next. I post new videos once a week, usually reading or writing related. So I hope to see you guys next time, and until then, have a great day. Bye.